You could lose out on thousands of dollars because you're doing this one thing. And the worst bit, you probably don't even realize it. So after today, you will know what this ominous mistake is, how even experienced players fall victim to it, and how you can eliminate this mistake while even making some extra money through a bonus trick. And the best news is that you can improve this one aspect of your game quite fast. My name is Andreas Wagner, I'm a live poker coach, and it took me years until I finally got rid of this habit. But lucky for you, today could be the day you kick it for good. Poker is of course a game of mistakes. If you can make fewer mistakes than your opponents, you will win money in the long run. But there is one play that pretty much every player, except for the best ones, makes that doesn't really look like much of a mistake, but it still sneakily drains your bankroll. This mistake happens both in live poker and online. And I would argue that online it is even more of a bankroll killer. But if you are a live player, you're leaving serious money on the table by falling for it. Let's look at an example and see if you can spot what it is. Under the gun raises to 5 big blinds with ace-4 suited. The raise size is a little too big for my taste, especially with such a speculative hand, but I would definitely raise in this spot. So nope, this isn't the mistake we're talking about. But then, low jack calls with pocket jacks. Cutoff calls with queen 10 suited. Button calls with ace jack offsuit. And big blind flicks in the call with pocket fives. So, 5 players are off to a flop, and except for the under the gun player and the big blind, everyone made this same mistake in this hand. Do you know what it is? Everyone in this hand is way too passive. Low jack should have 3-bet with his pocket jacks. Cutoff should probably fold his queen 10 suited, given that an early position raiser made it 5 times the big blind and a guy in middle position called. But if they're feeling bold, a squeeze would be fine too, just don't call. And button has to squeeze with ace-jack after a raise and 2 callers, although folding would not be a mistake either. But the vast majority of players just won't do that. Even the good players in the low-stakes pool tend to play a strategy that's way too passive. But imagine you are the guy with pocket jacks here, and the flop comes ace-10-6. You're probably done with a hand. And what about the guy with queen 10? Well, he has second pair and a backdoor straight and a backdoor flush draw, so he'll probably stick around, but can he ever feel good about it? And what about the guy with ace-jack? Well, he's got a decent top pair, but if a lot of money goes into the pot, you'll start questioning every life decision that brought you here. And here's the kicker. Because everyone else is too passive, it's not a disaster if you're passive as well. If you're better than your opponents, you will still make some money long term. But you don't maximize your winnings with this strategy. Before I show you how to actually become more aggressive at the poker table, I would like to address another question that you probably have. You might say,
"But Andreas, all that is well and good, but why would I even want to be more aggressive if nobody folds in my game?"
But the answer to that is not to be more passive. It's to be aggressive in the right spots and then fold everything else. If you're telling me that your opponents won't fold a hand like queen 10 suited or ace 10 offsuit to your 3-bets, well, then you can 3-bet hands like ace jack offsuit, pocket 9s, even king 10 suited, especially when you have position. You are ahead of their range, you have position, and you hopefully have a skill edge. Sure, you won't win every pot, of course, nobody does, but you will win bigger pots and ultimately you will be a bigger winner in the game. Once you have mastered thin value betting and folding to lots of aggression from passive players, this pre-flop aggressiveness becomes the single biggest bankroll booster. And to be fair, it's not only about pre-flop. This works on the flop by check raising more, and it can even be on the river when you go all in. These spots are more nuanced and take a bit more courage and a strong stomach. That's why I would start with pre-flop. And here's how you can become more aggressive. Well, in my early years, when I tried to become more aggressive, it was pure chaos. I often resorted to blind aggression, throwing haymakers without much thought. And because I was still green, I was often swinging and missing like a blindfolded darts player. And then I found the solution almost by accident. I was never much of an online player. I played some tournaments here and there and basically no cash games. But one day I was a bit bored at home and I started playing some small stakes online cash games. Those games are actually quite tough if you consider how low stakes they are. You're facing a constant stream of opponents, each with their own unique quirks and tendencies. And I discovered very quickly that I struggled to beat those games because I was playing as passively as I had been doing at the live felt. So I knew I had to change something. I had to shed my passive skin and embrace the aggression. I started playing a bit more in those games, and through trial and error and by brushing up on my theoretical understanding, I developed some heuristics. For example, I stopped having a flat calling range in every single position except for the big blind. So if I have pocket sixes in the hijack and low jack raises, I will either fold or raise. And those are exactly the two options I had never even considered in live poker. In the past, I would basically flat call this hand every single time, hoping not to get squeezed and then hit a set. And I realized that my win rate improved significantly at the small stakes online once I stopped having a flat calling range. When I play live poker now, I treat the game more like online poker. 2 months of intense online poker practice cured my lack of aggression. I even forced myself to triple barrel and go all in over and over to take the fear of getting stacked away. I felt so much more confident 3-betting pre-flop, over-betting the flop, and jamming the river after all that. I was like a caged animal finally unleashed. I haven't completely eliminated flat calls from my live poker arsenal, but mostly. The only times I flat call from middle or late position these days is if I only have recreational players behind me who don't 3-bet enough and who call with a ridiculously wide range. And many successful live poker pros do the same. So here is my suggestion for you. If you want to improve your live poker, start playing low stakes online cash games. It can even be 2NL or 5NL, so you don't have to risk a lot of money. This is about practice for live poker, not necessarily to make money in the online games themselves, although that would be a nice bonus, right? If you play those games for a couple of months, I can almost guarantee that your poker aggression will increase tremendously. You'll be surprised at how much more confident you become at the table. You can start 3-betting and even 4-betting a lot more than you normally would. As I said, it's not about winning a lot of money. It's mainly about getting comfortable with aggression. You can of course do this on any poker site, but here's my offer for you. If you sign up to CoinPoker, you will also get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000, and you get 33% rake back, which is better than on pretty much any major site. So, you're making extra money while leveling up your game and becoming more aggressive. Just go to CoinPoker and use the code LIVEPKRGD to get the bonus. I mentioned the bonus code in the description below so you don't have to memorize it now. And if you want to know about another effective way how you can improve your aggression post-flop, then click on this video here.